you should do a job that if they wake you up at 2 a.m., right, it's not gonna feel like a chore. It's not gonna feel like, you know, you can do it with your eyes closed, right? That's what started this journey for me. I was like, what is that thing that, like, if somebody woke me up at 2 a.m., I can do this easily in my sleep. And if you can find that and do that and find a way to monetize that, you're sweet.
Welcome to the Paul Plett podcast. This is basically an excuse for me to sit down and have a conversation with people that I find interesting. And joining me today is Boma Cookey-Gam.
Yay, hi.
Boma is an actor, a dancer, a singer, and a producer. Welcome here,
Thank
Boma.
you. Thank you so much for having me. Thank you for the tea. It's yummy.
Oh, good. I'm glad you like the tea. Today we are drinking Boma's specialty chai.
Yes.
With honey and milk.
A little bit of milk. It's a dash of milk.
It is delicious. It's nice and hot right now. For people who don't know you, and when you meet someone, how do you tell them who you are? What do you do?
Pretty much the same way that you just introduced me. I usually don't do the whole spiel. I sort of tend to focus more on the ones that I'm more active on. So the acting, the dancing, the producing, those are the things that I'm working on right now. So yeah, usually when I meet someone, that's how I introduce myself, depending also on who I'm meeting. Like if I'm meeting a dancer, I'm just like, hey, I'm a dancer. If I meet someone who's in the film industry, then I'm like, I'm this is. And then usually I don't include the dance. I'm like, I do film, I do theater, and then I'm a producer. I won't include that I'm a dancer.
So you definitely have a couple different lanes.
Depending on, because sometimes I don't feel like it's necessary to throw in all the things when I'm meeting certain people. But if it's an artist, then I will be like, oh yeah, I do all these different, fields of art.
Because it's all you.
Yeah.
Can we rewind back to the beginning?
Okay.
Where were you born? Where'd you grow up?
I was born in Nigeria. I grew up in Nigeria. I moved here.
Where in Nigeria?
Can
we talk about it?
Yeah, okay. I was actually born in Lagos, Nigeria. Okay. I don't know when my parents moved from Lagos.
Lagos, capital of Nigeria.
Yeah. Okay. Actually, no, Abuja is the capital of Nigeria now. Lagos used to be the capital.
Oh.
Yeah.
So Lagos is like the Toronto of Nigeria.
Yes.
Like everyone knows Lagos.
Yes.
But
Lagos is the Toronto of Nigeria.
Ottawa is the capital. Gotcha.
Beautiful.
Yeah.
That's a very good
analogy.
Yes.
Yeah. That's what I do. I bridge.
Good. You're a good bridger. So I was born in Lagos, and I think I moved when I was maybe 2 or 3. I actually have no memory of that.
So you don't remember your time in Lagos? No. And then you moved to?
I just know that on my birth certificate it says that I was born in Lagos, Nigeria. That's it. Maybe we moved before I even turned 1 or 2. And then we moved to Port Harcourt, which is in the south. Okay. My dad is from the south. My dad is from River State. Port Harcourt is in River State. So I lived in Port Harcourt, grew up in Port Harcourt.
So Nigeria, I know Nigeria a little bit. It's there's the big part of Africa. There's sort of the one sort of section where
we're on the coast.
Lagos, it's not on the coast, is it?
It is on the coast.
Okay, so then you moved
right on the coast.
So you moved south along the coast then?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. I don't really, I guess, south along the coast. Yeah. So,
to a smaller town, city?
Compared to Lagos, yes, smaller city. But it's not that small. I think if you know Nigeria, the cities that people know, I guess, Lagos, Abuja, Port Harcourt, Ibadan. I think, obviously there's other cities that people know, but if you say Port Harcourt, people will know.
Okay, if you know the area.
Relatively large city.
Yeah, okay.
So my family moved there, and I grew up there. I didn't go to school there. I schooled in a completely different state in Nigeria.
Okay, like boarding school?
Yeah, boarding school. So I schooled in Osun State.
I always wanted to go to boarding school.
I was literally talking to someone about this yesterday, about our boarding school experience, and Our boarding school was wild.
Yeah.
What? Like, I don't know what boarding schools are like here.
I grew up in Africa, in Zambia, in Sudan. So I like always wanted, like, for me it was just.
Oh, but you didn't go to boarding school there.
No, I went to like American schools, embassy schools in capital cities.
Missed.
I know.
It's an experience.
I know, and I wanted like a uniform and like, yeah, just to have that whole experience, like a slumber party all the time.
Yeah.
For someone who didn't go to boarding school, that's what it seemed like. Yeah.
No, it's not.
No, it would have been like strict British.
Yes.
Yeah.
It was fun. There were the moments, but most times, I think back then it was very traumatic.
Really?
It was very traumatic. But you know what? It made me who I am, so I can't.
Intense boarding school
very
experience.
Intense.
Yeah.
Very intense.
Just like,
because our school was in the middle of nowhere.
Yeah.
It wasn't in like a huge city. It was
Yeah.
like literally like on the other side of like the walls of like the school was just like forest. It was just bush.
Wow.
Yeah. So like,
so intense as in, okay, so we're talking intense remote, intense the student life, intense the teaching.
everything. So
If you don't want to talk about it.
no. We like when I was like, because like I said, I was talking to someone about this yesterday who went to boarding school with me at the same school, and we were just talking about like all the different experiences. Like it was crazy. Like students would like get into fights with teachers.
Yeah.
Like I remember because when I went to boarding school, the principal of our school was a British man.
Okay.
And I think he left like maybe 2 years after we got in there, and then so when he was there, the school was kind of nice. It was kind of okay. I mean, the teachers were crazy. Like we were literally saying like we don't even know if the teachers were qualified to teach us because like our teachers were insane. They were insane. I'm not even kidding you.
And like, what do you mean insane?
Like they were characters. I remember there was one teacher that used to like hit on like the students and like and like I remember there was a teacher that like there was this whole like incident that happened that they said like a few of us students, this is so hilarious, a few of us students, like, because it was a mixed school, there were the guys and girls, but like they didn't really like us like mixing, even though like we're teenagers. It always happens. So I remember there was a time that in the hostel that I was in, our head of the what do they call, head of house, she like called like all these students out and like told us like that they're going to like call our parents, that we're in trouble, like they found that they said that we're lesbians, and like we were like it was so stupid. And the crazy thing about it is that the night before this happened, these teachers were in one of their teacher houses watching a Nigerian movie about lesbians, and they just took this and turned it into like,
so just like drama
for no reason. And then they punished us, and one of the punishments that I had was our biology teacher told us that we had to pick pregnant flies. Have you ever heard of that? Pregnant flies. That was the punishment. Another punishment was that we had to like cut grass. We had like cutlasses,
go out in the bush,
cut grass. Another punishment for that crime that we did not commit was
the crime? The pregnant crime, or the crime of being a lesbian?
The crime was lesbian. And another punishment was like we had to go to the boys' hostel to go and wash their toilets. Insane! We did not do anything. So when I say it was insane. So I have all these like
so just like the school, we're talking like this, the school, you're talking remote boarding school in Nigeria, and then
just
kind of people left to their own devices in a way, right? A little bit Lord of the Flies.
Teachers left to their own devices because like
possibly qualified teachers.
Possibly. Where the school was like 7 hours away from my home. So like they just like literally carted us off to the middle of nowhere, threw us there, and they're like, hey, go crazy.
Did you learn a lot? What'd you learn?
let me not discredit the teachers. They were good. When I say they were not qualified,
there was a lot of drama.
There was a lot of
teaching as well.
They were good. But I think when I was in high school, the path that I was on was to become a lawyer. So most of the courses that I took they were like arts courses. I took like literature, history. But we learned like for I guess maybe because the principal was a British man and the curriculum I guess was like sort of like British. Yeah. So we the standard was very British.
We
took IGCSE, which is like a certificate you take when you're in England. Yeah. We took SATs.
So you were kind of getting qualified to go to university in England if you wanted to.
Yeah. Mostly in England. We took SATs. We took we didn't do A levels, but. We took a lot of courses that I was actually surprised. Even sports, like we did a lot of sports that a lot of schools in Nigeria I don't think did. Like we played rounders, which is like baseball, but like slightly different rules.
Is it like baseball, cricket, baseball, or is like?
No, it's like baseball. Like it's like the same, like 4 bases, like bats, all of that. I think the only difference was the shape of the field, because I think the shape of the field for baseball is like a diamond or something, and then the shape for rounders was like a little different, but it was pretty much the same. Yeah. So we did rounders. We played field hockey. Yeah. We played handball, volleyball, badminton, like the whole gamut.
Good
and
athletics.
I was actually pretty surprised because again, like our school was in the middle of nowhere. Yeah. So I'm very surprised that we
I would have liked some of that boarding school experience.
Yeah.
Maybe not the whole thing.
Well, yeah.
I mean, the schools I went to were very like, again, American embassy schools, so like the standard of education was very high. The teachers were characters, but not to that degree. I mean, teachers everywhere are characters.
I was just going to say, teachers everywhere are characters.
But I think it would have been nice to have the remote experience and sort of have, I'm sure like the friends you make are really, it's a tight-knit group of friends, right?
Well, so the one thing about me is I've always sort of like been a loner. So I did have like I was friendly with everybody, but I didn't really have like that like click.
It wasn't like, because I think Harry Potter. Yeah. Right? Like they're like so tight, right?
No, I didn't.
Hogwarts
There were a few people that I regularly hung out with, but like I said, like I don't think I really had like a clique that I was a part of. But and some of my high school friends I still am in communication with, not a lot of them. But just I guess the shared trauma bonding also just.
Did you hear can you believe that happened? Do you remember?
Yeah.
So you get through that. You survived the boarding school experience.
And like I said, it's so here's where I'm at. I'm like, if I have kids, do I want to send them to a boarding school in Nigeria? Because it's character building. If you can survive in a boarding school in Nigeria, you can survive anywhere. I'm telling you that. I'm telling you that. So like I feel like it's definitely, character building in a lot of ways. But I survived that.
So you graduate from high school?
Yeah.
Right? And then off to university? What happened?
Yes. So I graduated from high school and then I went to the University of Benin, which is in the south as well, Niger Delta, Edo States.
Is it like neighboring? Is Benin?
So Port Harcourt is, let's say this is Nigeria. Yeah. Lagos is here. Port Harcourt is here. Benin is like somewhere here.
Oh, so not the country.
No.
Oh, okay.
No, Benin is a city in Nigeria.
Gotcha. Okay. Not to be confused with the nation of
Benin Republic.
Yeah. Okay, so you went to university there.
Yes, I went to university for a couple of months. But then around the time I got offered a scholarship to come here.
Where?
To Winnipeg.
To Winnipeg?
Actually, I was supposed to go to England. And then somewhere along the line.
Where in England?
I don't know.
I guess it doesn't matter.
I didn't know. I actually didn't know because how it happened was there was a bunch of students who got this scholarship, and then depending on what you wanted to study, because it was a government funded scholarship, the government would pair you up with a school somewhere in the world that took that course. So
random.
Yeah, it was random. Very random. Yeah. So initially I was supposed to go to London, but then somewhere along the line, last minute it changed for me to come here, which is fortunate because I do have a citizenship to Canadian citizenship, so it just worked out, I guess.
Wow, you did before then?
Yeah, before I came to Canada.
How? Why?
My mom was born here.
Okay.
Yeah, my mom was born in Montreal.
She was?
Yeah.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
So when we were younger, I think she got us because back then I think you could apply for citizenship for your kids.
Okay.
I don't know if you can still do that now.
Yeah, but there was some sort of a dual citizenship.
You could do that. So when I was younger, I got that. So yeah, I was fortunate that I came here.
Okay, so Canada's always sort of been on your radar.
No, I actually never had plans of leaving Nigeria.
Okay.
Before I got the scholarship.
But even though you had the Canadian citizenship.
Yeah, I never had plans. I was gonna go to Uniben, study law, become a lawyer.
In Lagos?
In Nigeria, I don't know where. I was gonna be a lawyer, get called to the bar, and do that in Nigeria. But
oh my goodness! And eventually,
destiny's
teach at a boarding school in.
God forbid.
Right.
God forbid. No. I mean, if I did stay in Nigeria,
because you want to hand it back, you want to hand it down to the next generation, right?
I guess. If I did stay in Nigeria, I would have had to do NYSC, which is it's a youth corps program that everybody technically is supposed to go to, kind of like in Israel where you go to the army and serve. But I didn't have to do that, I guess, fortunately.
So you get a scholarship to come to Winnipeg to study economics. So you moved from law.
It changed. Yeah.
Okay.
So at the time they weren't. First of all, to be honest, I didn't want to study law. It was just sort of the direction that I was put on because my dad is a lawyer, and it was just sort of orchestrated for me to be a lawyer. Yeah. But I don't think I really wanted to do law.
Okay.
If I'm being honest with myself. And at the time, economics was one of the courses that they were offering of all the things that they were offering as a scholarship.
Yeah.
And I had done economics in high school, so I was just like, okay.
Was that a tough transition? Like not the making, but like deciding to make the transition or give up the law? Was that?
No.
Okay. It was a load off.
It was
a weight off your shoulders.
Yeah, it was not tough. It was a little different because I remember in high school, economics was not really one of the subjects that I was drawn to. Okay. So when the option came to do that, I was like, okay, I'll do it.
Yeah.
It wasn't my choice, but I think at the time, to be very honest, I don't even think I knew what I wanted to do.
Yeah, of course.
So
like in high school?
Yeah, like I don't think I knew. So when the scholarship came around and they were like, these are the options. I was like, okay, this is like, I've done this before, so this seems like the best course of action to take.
Yeah.
I think it wasn't until I got to university that I was like, I sort of started to have an idea of what I wanted to do.
In Benin?
No, in Canada.
Here?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. So, but what was that? So Nigeria your whole life, never thought about Canada?
No.
Get a scholarship to come here?
Yeah.
And you come?
So I was in university for maybe a couple of months, and then I got the scholarship, and then I had to leave university. I didn't actually finish my degree. I had to leave, and then I did A-levels in Lagos for a year because I was supposed to go to London. So A-levels is like a preliminary certificate to go if you're going to go school in a college in London or something. Okay. So I did that. And then, the plan was to go to London, and then somewhere last minute it changed.
London, England?
Yeah.
Okay.
Somewhere last minute it changed to Canada, and they threw me in Winnipeg.
So, okay, but you're all ready to, and then moving, what was that like? I mean, so you say... It wasn't, you were going to go on the law track. Yeah. Not really feeling it that much. Mm-hmm. There's a situation where there's a scholarship to go to Winnipeg to study economics.
Go somewhere.
Somewhere to study economics instead. You say, I haven't ever really been that much into economics, but I'll give it a shot. Mm-hmm. Like, I'm not liking law. I'm game to try something else.
Yeah. That's pretty much what it was. And my mom, I spoke to my parents about it, and they were like, it's an opportunity for you to, because at the time, I think as well, Nigeria had started to, how do I say this lightly? Nigeria had started, like the prospects had started to go down.
This is when?
Like the country, this was in I got the scholarship in 2011.
Okay. 2011. So the countries, it's looking like, well, maybe going somewhere else might
be better.
Might be a good idea.
So my mom said, just take this opportunity and leave the country, and then you can figure it out once you've left. So yeah, that was I don't think to be honest, I don't think I wanted to leave. Now that I think about it,
that makes sense.
I don't think I wanted to leave, but I remember my mom making a very good case and good point. Like it's a once in a lifetime opportunity. Like this scholarship, to leave the country. So take it.
Diving in the deep end.
Yeah.
So, and you had gone to boarding school.
Yeah.
So you've left home to go to school.
I have been away from home since I was 10.
You survived boarding school.
Yes, I did.
So you moved to Winnipeg.
Yeah, I moved to Winnipeg.
Now, when I met you a couple years ago, I met you as an actor.
Right.
How did you go from moving here and studying economics to becoming an actor,
that transition,
dancer, producer, and we don't really talk about the other things?
Yeah, it was sort of I wouldn't say inevitable.
Okay.
Because when I was in high school, I've always been a dancer.
Okay.
I've always been a dancer. I've always been into theatrics, like arts. I remember I used to do drama, dance. And I remember as a kid too, I always wanted to be on the other side of the screen, right? I always wanted to be the person inside the screen, not the person watching the screen.
Yeah.
But it was never really a choice back then. Like I said, I was going to study law. That was the direction. So I sort of just put that on the back shelf. And then I think when I came to Winnipeg and I saw that.
Sorry, just to cut you off, but Nigeria also has a intense film industry.
Yes, but at the time, my family's not into that, so I had no idea about any of that.
Okay.
All I knew was the profession.
Would that be a credible path now? Had you been going to school now, if you were 13, whatever, in Nigeria?
To become an actor?
Yeah.
I think so.
In Nigeria?
So. Absolutely.
Yeah?
Absolutely, because the Nigerian film industry is doing really well right now. Yeah. So I think if I had stuck to that path, it might be hard, but I think it would have been definitely worth it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But anyway, you didn't. You moved here. You're studying economics.
Yes. So yeah, I did that. And at the time with the scholarship, I didn't know that you could switch programs.
Okay.
Right? I was very scared that if I did, they would,
you don't know the system.
Yeah, I don't know the system. So it wasn't until my last year in university, I think I took a couple of I took film, I took theater, just those electives. And I was like, wait a minute. I want to do this. This is what I should have been doing the whole time.
Wow.
Yeah.
How long, this is 4 years in? 3 years in?
4 years in.
Wow. Okay.
At the end of the road.
Wait a second. I could have been studying this the whole time?
The whole time. I wasted
I never walked down this hallway before. You guys have been showing movies here the whole time?
Anyways, so yeah, I did that. And then when I graduated, I was like, I have to use my degree. So I did that for a couple of years. I worked for an insurance company
Okay, so you get the economics degree, you start practicing economics.
So I started using that degree. And then, but along that line, I think I had started to realize that I wanted to do something different.
Okay.
Yeah. So the pandemic happened around that same time.
Yeah.
Yeah, this was not too long ago. Mm-hmm. And so around that time, they were having company layoffs and things like that. Mm-hmm. So I had all this free time now.
Yeah.
So it really helped me shift my perspective on like what do I really want to do?
Yes.
You know, like
yeah.
And at the time, the world was really struggling, right? Like people were dying, and I was like, this could literally be me. Like I could like, you know. So I was like, why am I wasting my time doing something that I don't want to do? Why don't I try to figure out what I want to do? So yeah, the theater, the dance, like I said, I've always been a dancer. I've always wanted to act and stuff like that. So I just took a leap of faith, and I just started applying for stuff. I started researching the film industry, like the dance scene in Winnipeg, and I was just like, I'm just gonna take this chance, and I'm just gonna do all the things and see what comes of it. So that's how I met you.
Yes.
And then around the time I joined a dance team as well, Boss.
Yes.
Yeah, so that's sort of where that journey started with the dance. I joined Boss.
Boss is awesome. I just had a conversation with Jeannie.
Eugenie, yeah.
Yeah, he's amazing.
Yeah, he's really cool. He's awesome guy. So around the time I also got the opportunity to teach dance at Studio 393.
Okay.
So leap of faith. I just took the leap of faith. I didn't know what I was doing, but I was like, I want to create, I don't know, I think I had a different idea of the community of dance that I wanted to create.
Yeah.
So I took a leap of faith. I took the teaching job and I got it. And then I just started figuring out that dance part from there. And then the acting part, initially when I started, I was not comfortable in front of a camera. So the mission for me was to do as much whatever it is. Yeah. Just so that I'm comfortable with having a camera on me. That was the goal. And then the more that I did that, and I started doing background, and I think background was actually the throughway for me. And I did background, and then I was in it, and I was like, oh damn, okay, this is really cool. And then
interesting.
Yeah, so from there I started figuring out, okay, then how do I become the person who's actually
making the thing?
You know, and that's sort of how the journey just.
I remember. I think any kid. Like, I spent so much of my childhood. I didn't watch a ton of movies as a kid, but you know, every time you'd watch a movie, then you'd like act out the movie, play, pretend to be the characters and stuff. And I remember like, kind of in middle school, you know, sort of grades 5 and 6 and 7. Me and my friends like started playing with cameras, you know, and like making little films and stuff. And then I went through this period, kind of around grade 10. We did a lot of moving back and forth. So I also just sort of by circumstance ended up sometimes spending a lot of time by myself, not having a group of friends, right? And I definitely made so many horrible, like, experimental films with myself.
But that's so cool.
With myself as the actor. And definitely there's that thing where you're like, I'm in front of the camera, but then also learning how do I become comfortable? How do I be myself? How do I, because again, if you talk about sitting and watching the movie and you want to be that, but then once you're in front of the camera, how do you become that or something, right? Because those people aren't concerned. They're just existing.
Exactly.
Right?
Exactly. Yeah, no, that was. I wish I had that experience of like getting to like experiment, because like for me, I watched a lot of like movies and cartoon, like that was my, because I didn't have a lot of friends growing up, so that was my life. It was like watching everything, like learning accents, like that was my childhood. And I think that's what really drew me to the film industry, was like I loved it. I wanted to be it. I wanted to be, you know, be in there. But and here we are, you know.
I mean, so now you're in this place now where you've had your background, you've had your life experience, and then sort of like going from high school through university, you have this process of shedding some layers, sort of discovering who you are a bit more, like, oh, this feels a little more resonant to like my actual frequency. And now you're in this position where you want to produce, but you're kind of still figuring out what you want to produce, how you want to produce. What are you dealing with now?
So this producing journey, like with everything in my life, it's all been a journey. I mean, like, you're the one who put me on producing, so I have to give you that credit.
Boma helped produce a couple of 2 films. No, 1 film, 1 documentary we made, and 1 TV show.
TV show, yeah. So in just like going through the whole process of it, I realized that I won because there are not a lot of Black producers, and I have a lot of Black emerging filmmaker friends.
Yes.
So one thing for me was like, I want to be able to help my friends make their things. That was one reason that I decided to go on this route. This other thing was, I was like, I also want to be able to do my own things, because a couple years ago I started to research the history of my ancestry. Because my ancestry is very, very interesting, and in doing that, I started to discover that there's so many stories that, in this whole chaos of my ancestry, that I would like to tell. I don't know what form I want to do, like a documentary or like a scripted story. I don't know yet. But I really want to be able to do that. Because I feel like it's going to be another way for me to connect to that part of myself. So another reason that I wanted to do was because I want to be in a position to understand how to produce these things that I want to do. And along the line too, like, as you interact with all these different parts of the film production, you start to get all these ideas of all these different things that you can do, right? So so for me it's just been like, right now it's more just like I have all these ideas. It's now sort of trying to like flesh them out and figure out what I want to do, how I want to do it, etc., 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 etc.
So when you talk about like family history, are you interested in family history like just the last few generations, or going way back
to when my village started? Because there's like colonial history there. There's so much. And when I went back to Nigeria last year, I was fortunate enough to talk to like people who know about the history of my village, and I got so much, like, there's still so much to learn. But I got so much history on like because my last name is not a Nigerian last name, Cookey-Gam.
Oh.
No, it's not. There's some colonial like history. I think it was actually my last name that started this journey, because I was like, my last name is very, very strange.
Interesting.
It doesn't mean anything that I'm aware of.
Okay.
And the stories that I've heard so many different stories of how my last name came to be. And I'm like, I need to get to the actual roots of this last name, because the stories sort of make sense, but there's different stories. So which one is the actual story of how
does my name mean?
Like, how did this come about? And I know there's like some colonial like history there of how that came about. So like, just try to figure all of this out. That has set me on this, this journey.
No, that's interesting. I know that for myself, like growing up spending so many of my formative years in Zambia and Sudan and Kenya, I've been in contact with so many people that are that are connected to their tribal history. And I've always wished I could connect with my own tribal history. But the thing is, like, I've connected with my Mennonite history, but that goes back like 500 years. Like, you have to go back so much further in my history till we get like to what tribe I'm from. And I'm fascinated to know about that.
It's very interesting, because for me it's also like, mine is even more convoluted, because like mine is like, I'm actually like ancestrally not from the South. I'm from the East.
Wow.
Because the Cookey-Gam, the Cookey-Gam man, I think he was from somewhere.
The Cookey-Gam man.
Or Cookie, I think.
Yeah.
He was from somewhere in that area, and then he
Yeah.
moved and then joined this like tribe in the south.
Yeah.
And then the king of my village.
I'm just trying to help you
also-
name your movie here. Who was the Cookey-Gam?
Who was the Cookey-Gam? the king of my village
Yeah.
that started the village was an Igbo man.
Okay.
He's so like all the tribes in the south
Yeah.
also like have influence from Igbo as well. That's why I'm trying to trace where my original lineage comes from to know what empire that came from.
Yeah.
Because there were strong empires all around Nigeria that when the
Yeah.
British came, they were like, oh hey, why don't you guys become one? Which is the problem with Nigeria right now, is because like all these different empires are conflicting.
Yeah.
Right? Nobody, but yeah, it's very, very, very fascinating.
Yeah, and what's the way forward from here? We are where we are. How do we move forward from here?
That is a very good question. That's if anybody in Nigeria had that answer, I don't think Nigeria would be what it is today. But I think the way forward is finding a common ground, finding unity, right? Because the like I said, the problem is that there's so many different tribes and different areas of Nigeria. Everybody thinks that they're the best. You know? There's no sociality. There's no uniformness to like make Nigeria.
Yeah.
So that's, I think if somehow we could find a way to unite ourselves, I think Nigeria will be better for it.
Yeah.
I'm hopeful to get there. A lot of people I've spoken to are not hopeful, but I'm very hopeful. Maybe not in my lifetime, but I'm hopeful that Nigeria will somehow become a cohesive unit.
Yeah. So you've had a journey, You've had a journey from Lagos to
Winnipeg.
Yeah. Nice. Thank you. Concise. It's been a journey, and you're at a point right now where you are, I feel like, coming in contact with your true self.
I think so.
Do you have is there a central message, mantra, anything that you would share? Would you have any message for the world?
For the world? Stop fighting. Any central message? I think just like any artist will say is, you have to discover like who you are, what makes you you, right? No matter what that looks like, whether it's good, whether it's bad, you have to find that and embrace that and then work with that. And I think that's, I can't say that I know who I am 100%, but that's what this journey started off as, is I wanted to know what I like, what's that Japanese word, ikigai. I wanted to know what makes me tick, right? What they say, if you want to, you should do a job that if they wake you up at 2 a.m., right? It's not gonna feel like a chore. It's not gonna feel like, you can do it with your eyes closed, right? That's what started this journey for me. I was like, what is that thing that like, if somebody woke me up at 2 a.m., I can do this easily in my sleep. And if you can find that and do that and find a way to monetize that, you're sweet. That's the general gist of Ikigai. That's what that talks about. So I feel that if you can find a way to do that, find a way to monetize whatever it is that makes you tick. Doesn't matter what it is. You'll find happiness. It will be hard.
Yeah.
I mean, depending on the circumstance in life that you come from, it'll be hard.
Yeah.
There'll be a lot of challenges. There'll be a lot of struggles. But I think, like I said, at the end of it, you'll find happiness and balance in your life if you can figure out how to get to that point of making money from the thing that makes you tick.
Yeah.
I think that's my advice. And it's going to look different for everybody. Some people might figure it out tomorrow. Some people might figure it out in 10 years.
Yeah.
Some people, it might take them 10 years to achieve this goal. It might take some people a year to achieve the goal. It's going to look different for everybody, but I think the general message of your life should be, because you want to find fulfillment in your life, right? If you're just going through life just like floating around, then you might be making money, but you will not feel centered and happy in your life, right? So I think the goal is to find a way to monetize.
No, for sure.
Monetize your what makes you tick.
You want to do the work that doesn't feel like work.
Yeah, exactly.
You know, you just talk about like wanting to find who you really are, and your idea of like being unapologetic about it, because I think for a lot of us, who we really are, I know that for me, who I really am, like, other people might think is silly.
That's the struggle.
You know, and how do I do that in such a way that I say, but this is who I am.
Yeah. And that's the being unapologetic. It's hard because as adults, we get to a point where we let all the outside noise affect who we really are. And I'm saying this too, but I also filter myself a lot because who I am is very silly and who I am is very goofy. But I'm also, I think as I get older, I'm also starting to get to the point where like I naturally, I don't know if I can swear on this, but naturally I don't give a fuck. But like I said, we have so allowed other people to filter us that it's hard to let your true self shine. And I'm trying to get to a point where I can be goofy and I can be who I am unapologetically and not be, you know, feel so censored in myself. And it's a struggle. It's something that I'm working with every day. But I think if you are able to do that and not expect anything from anybody of it, I think, again, like I said, you find a lot of balance and centeredness in yourself. It's just getting to that point of just being like, fuck it.
I think the thing that when you tie in the success, like some sort of conventional success or money, monetizing or anything like that.
Yes, that's where it gets tricky.
It gets tricky, and the thing for me that I sometimes struggle with is if I don't have external factors that are supporting, confirming what I'm doing, it's tough to do it for any extended period of time.
Right.
And if you're going to do something new or something different, you need to do it for an extended period of time for people to notice.
Yes.
No one's going to notice day one, week one, month one,
year one.
Yes. How do you do that thing? Which is why I think you want to find something that you really love or really is something you would do it
that drives you.
The work that doesn't feel like work.
Because that's what you always come back to. Like, why am I doing this?
This is what I'm doing anyway.
What is the reason that I'm doing this? Otherwise, you're just gonna, because if you're doing it for other people, then eventually it's going to start feeling like work.
Yes.
Right? But if you're just doing it for yourself, because I love this, like, I don't care, like, I love to do this. So that's what's going to keep you going for that year that nobody's noticing you. It's because, like, I'm just doing this because I want to do it. And then when you've done it for a year, you put out your content, whatever, eventually people are going to start noticing you. I think it's very rare, and I think the problem is that social media nowadays is like you go viral tomorrow and then you're famous. And if we really look back at people who are very successful, it didn't take them a year, it took them 5 years, it took them 10 years, right, to really get to the peak of where they are. But they continued to do what they were doing because they loved it. And now we've noticed them. You know, very few people, it's like they do this thing now and in a month and 2 months their social media blows over. I personally, I struggle with social media because I don't care. I know that sounds very but I don't care for the likes, I do it because I'm trying to get people to, you know, I'm teaching dance, right? So I'm trying to get people to learn what I'm teaching.
You want
right. I want to exactly. So that's the only reason that I do it. So for me, it's a struggle to like try to generate those likes because I don't really care if you like it or not. That's my problem. And I know I shouldn't say that. I know
No,
that
you should. You should specifically say that. At the end of the video, you should say, I hope you learned something, and then lean in and say, I don't really care if you like it or not. I just hope you learned something.
I just hope you learned. And that's literally, initially when I first started dancing, it was because I love to dance.
Yeah.
And I love to share the knowledge that I know and share the steps that I know and stuff like that. But along the line, it got to the point where I'm like, I want people to notice me. I want to get famous. I want to get... and then it started to feel like work. It stopped feeling like the thing that I love to do.
Yeah.
So I over the years, I had to reevaluate, like, why am I doing this?
Interesting.
Why am I teaching dance?
Yeah.
You know, so then I went back to the core of, you know, I love to dance. I love to share.
Yeah.
I love to see the joy on people's faces when they actually understand this step that I've taught, and they've learned a step of they're having fun in the choreo, right? So for me, that's what makes all the ups and downs worth it.
Yeah.
But yeah, the social media aspect of it's like, I don't want to just put content out just for I want you to like this content, right?
Yeah.
So now I had to really reevaluate that to be like, am I doing this for content? Am I doing this for the teaching educational purposes and stuff like that?
Yeah. When I first I just started this YouTube channel like a year ago. And I remember when I started it, I wrote down a list of things of why I'm doing this. And none of it, like the top of the list was to connect with people. I just want to be myself, and I want to actually connect with human beings.
Yeah.
So that is really where I get the most out of it. If you get a response or a comment or anything, and it's obvious that someone's actually seen it or seen you. Yeah. They've recognized you or me, you know? Yeah. And then outside of it, because that's actually like building a community, you know? Which feels like for people who, you know, for whatever reason, maybe moved or struggled to make friends or whatever, you want to connect with people. Yeah. And sometimes it's hard to do that in conventional ways. Yeah. You know? Yeah. Boma, thanks for sitting down.
Yeah, no, thank you for having me.
Having a cup of tea.
Yeah, I think the tea made it balanced.
Yeah.
Made it very nice.
Oh, good. And no, I mean, I met you as an actor, and seeing you make this transition from being an actor to being a producer is incredibly exciting. It's so cool. I'm excited to see where you're going to go from here, what's going to happen next, and I'm excited to see the projects that you're going to produce. And as you continue on this journey to sort of find yourself, become yourself unapologetically, I can't wait to see what happens.
Thank you. That's the goal. Unapologetically underlined.
Yeah. I do think, you should either like a YouTube channel or something should be, I don't care if you like it or not. Be a good one. That's the thumbnail. The thumbnail of this video.
I don't care if you like it or not, just watch it.
I hope you learned something.
Yeah.
Okay, cool.
I really hope there's, you know, something that someone can take away from this. Just be yourself. I know it's the toughest thing in the world. Like me, like take it from me, because like I feel like not a lot of people know who I am. Very, very few people know who I am, and I'm trying to get to the point where I am who I am, and I don't care if you like it or not. Like, this is me, and I think that's what everybody should do. I mean, like, obviously, like, whatever you're doing shouldn't be like hurting anybody, or like you shouldn't be saying things that hurt people, or like doing things that hurt people. But whoever you are, like, that's who you are. Like, nobody, you know, you shouldn't care if people like that.
Especially if it's your joy.
Yeah.
If you're following your joy or what you love, I mean, then you're not. Hopefully, what you love isn't hurting other people.
Hurting other. There's the line there.